All right, so this video is just to take you through solving inequalities. What's nice about solving inequality is really there's only one rule. I'm going to kind of get the pen going. I'm going to kind of bubble this in. This is what you have to remember. All right, so the rule is if you divide or multiply by a negative number, you flip the inequality. It doesn't matter if your answer is a negative. So if I have something that says this, I'm not flipping. But if I have something like this, when I divide by -2, because I divided by a negative, this has to flip. And so I believe that was a -4. So -4 divided by -2 is a +2. So when you divide or multiply by a negative, you flip your answer. All right, so let's just talk about what happens when it says greater than or equal to, you shade to the right. So if I have a greater than sign, I'm going to shade to the right if x is greater than. Now, one thing that I need you to be careful of is that if the x is on the wrong side, this still says x is greater than, it's just backwards. This still shades to the right. So we want to focus with our x's on left, because then if our x's are on the left, then we're going to go the direction that our arrow says. Over here, this says less than. And so this time we're going to shade to the left. So if I have an x less than, I'm going to go to the left. But again, if it's on the other side, this says x is less than, I'm also going to go to the left. So you can't just go by the arrows, right? The inequality sign does not always tell you where to go. All right, the next thing we have is whether it's an open or closed circle. This does not equal. And so this is an open circle. So x is greater than is going to be an open circle to the right. X is less than is going to be an open circle to the left. And then this, because it's underlined, that means it's including it, so it's closed. And so x is greater than or equal to, it's a closed circle to the right. X is less than or equal to, it's a closed circle to the left. Now, when I do graphing, I'm not super picky, but what I would like is I would like a number line with 0. Remember, negative numbers have to go on the left, and then I want the same positive number. Now, you could do it two ways. You could do it on this line and then just make a thick arrow so I could see which way it goes. Or you could do it above and do the arrow above, but I have to be able to read it. Either of these two answers are acceptable. All right, so I did give you one hint. The one hint I give for solving is my suggestion is just keep everything on the left. If you keep it on the left, then you're going to go the way it's supposed to go. If it says less than, you go to the left. If you say right, greater than, you go to the right. But when you have your x's on the other side, it can get a little tricky. All right, so a no solution is a no solution, and a no solution is a false inequality. A false inequality is going to be something like 3 is greater than 5. That's not true. Another false inequality would be 3 is greater than 3. 3 is not greater than 3. It's the same as 3. So both of those are false inequalities. So those are no solutions. An infinite solution, remember, that's our all reals, is a true inequality. So that would be something like 3 is less than 5, or 3 is greater than or equal to 3. Because I threw in that equal sign, that made it true. Without that equal sign, it would be false. All right, so let's do some graphing. So what I'd like you to do is start off by drawing your number line. And again, I'm not super picky, and I don't think anybody really is, as long as you have the positive and negative numbers on the correct side. And I like to put the 0 in the middle. So the key for this is, first of all, finding out where your circle is going to go, and then figure out if it's open or closed. So for number 1, my circle I'm comparing to -2, so I'm going to put my circle at -2. And it does not have an underline, so it's just an open circle. And this says x is greater than, so I'm going to go to the right. For number 2, it's at 3, so it's going to be a closed circle at 3. And this says less than, so I'm going to go to the left. And then the last one is at 4. It's an open circle, but now look, x is on the wrong side. It looks like I'm going to go to the right because it's the inequalities facing to the right, but when x is on the wrong side, I'm going the other way because that actually says 4 is greater than x or x is less than 4. So that's why I go to the left. All right, now let's do some solving problems. When we solve, it's the same process as what we do for equations. First thing I always do is I try and distribute. Line go a little off. So I'm going to distribute here. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 4 is 12. So I bring down the minus 12. I didn't do anything with the 5, so I'm going to bring it down. Bring down my inequality, 3x plus 2. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my like terms, which are 12 and 5. And so now I have 3x. Ooh, let's fix that. So I have 3x minus 7 is greater than or equal to 3x plus 2. Now I'm hoping that you recognize that there's a 3x on both sides. When you have the same thing on both sides, what's going to happen is you're going to subtract and they're going to cross off. So you're going to have -7 is greater than or equal to 2. So now you have to decide, is that true or false? Well, -7 is not greater than 2, so this is a no solution. All right, let's look at number 2. The next thing we're going to do here, now you can get rid of this fraction first, or you can move the 2. I'm going to go ahead and move the 2 over here. And so I'm going to have x minus 3 over 5 is less than x minus 4. Now I need to get rid of this fraction. And remember, the way you get rid of fractions is you multiply. So when I multiply, it's like multiplying this whole right side. So in the end, I end up distributing it. So on the left, the 5s are gone. So I'm left with x minus 3 is less than 5x minus 20. Now again, I like to move my variables to the left so I shade on the right way. So I'm going to move my 5x. So I get -4x minus 3 less than -20. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I get -4x is less than -17. And I'm going to divide by -4. Now look, I divided by -4, so now I have to flip it. So it's greater than 17 over 4. Now you can keep your answer like this, or you can make it a mixed number. 4 goes into 17 4 times with one remainder. And so now I have a 0, 4 and 1/4, -4 and 1/4. It's an open circle here at the 4 and 1/4, and I'm going to go to the right. So the biggest thing you have to be careful of when you're doing inequalities is this top rule. When you divide or multiply negative, you gotta make sure you flip. That's where people are going to make a mistake. Everything else is just like solving a regular equation.